real people on real journeys.
And honestly, though, the community is what kept me going. The shift in mindset, I'm more mindful than I ever had been.
One day at a time for all of us, right?
Welcome to Real People, Real Journeys, where we talk to our very real members about their own individual journeys. My guest today, I'm really interested in chatting with. Her name is Susan Williamson. I've actually been following her on Instagram and I get inspired by her daily. Let me just tell you a little bit about her. First of all, she's 54, and that's really interesting because I would have pegged her at 35 easily. She is the mom of two sons, two stepsons, a stepdaughter, and she's a grandma to one. I love what she said here in her bio. I don't know if you had an opportunity to read it. Discovering that the Livy Method is a whole body wellness program was a shock. And it was what I needed to dig deeper into my self-sabotage habits. It's always more than what we think it is. I'm so excited to chat with her. Let's bring her on and start this conversation, shall we? Hi.
Howdy. You went and used all the photos I sent you. I thought there would just be one.
No, we do all the things around here. We're going to use all the photos. I first of all, I'm so excited because I legit am so inspired by you. As you probably know, I've been trying to work out more, get to the gym more, and it's so much more than weight loss, the program, which I'm sure we'll get into. But I was like shook. Today we had like a pre-production meeting and I'm like, she's what? She's what now? 54? You're turning 54? I was like, no way. And Kim was like, I know. I would have said like 35 for sure. 35 for sure. You look fantastic.
Okay, we can be best friends. Now I am 54. My birthday was last week, Groundhog's Day.
Happy birthday.
Well,
I want
thanks.
to talk about the photos and we'll put if you don't mind, your Instagram, because I'm sure people will want to follow you and be inspired.
Not at all.
But it's across the bottom. Photog 1971, aging powerfully. I want to talk to you about those because Kim mentioned that you don't necessarily love doing that.
I absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
And I put them up because I hate it. So it is the next challenge for me to face. I honestly, I'm putting the things in and I'm like, yep, all right, I'm going to do it. And I close my eyes and send it because it bugs me so much.
Okay, because I was just scrolling
Yeah.
on you and your gym photos, and I wouldn't necessarily be called. They're more comparison or progress photos, is what I would like to say. I love that you hate that. You hate it, but you're doing it anyway. So you're doing it for yourself. Why?
Because I hate it. So anytime now, I've just realized that every fear and every insecurity that I have, it's just something I need to overcome.
Mm,
So there's a reason why I hate it, and I bet you it has nothing to do with posting those photos. It has to do with the backstory that I heard all my life. So the
okay.
more I do it, the more I face whatever that story is.
And what is that story?
Oh, well. I have a mother who's a product of the 50s. So perfectionism and saying the right thing, doing the right thing, don't speak up, all the things that you hear from that generation. So I think her favorite word to me was stifle, or no one wants to hear what you have to say. And well, now everybody gets to hear what I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't have any anger toward it. It's just how she was raised. And I'm a product of the 80s, so I was raised by social media of the MTV era. Yeah.
What
So,
you want.
yeah.
Interesting because you didn't have an weight issue growing up.
No, I didn't. So, while I didn't have a weight issue, I did hear all the time things like thunder thighs, or my favorite was, muscle weighs more than fat. And I would always be like, I never mentioned my weight. I don't know where you jumped to that one. So, you hear all those things. My mom used the adjective girthy. I don't know about anybody, but for a female, that's never a positive adjective to be used. So, yes.
Thighs is a blast. That's a blast from the past. Thunder thigh. I haven't heard thunder thighs in a long time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sweet one.
So, so when did you? I mean, when did you have a weight issue? When would you say? I mean, I wouldn't
Oh,
look at you and
so
say you had a weight issue,
obviously,
but
I joined the freshman 15, but I'm an overachiever, so I just went for freshman 20. Why not? And yeah, and then when I was about that age was the first time that I was introduced to working out with weights when no one else was.
mm,
And everybody's like, "Oh, you're gonna get bulky, you're gonna bulk up." And I'm thinking, I'm lifting 25 pounds. I'm not bulking up lifting 25 pounds.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So,
Hmm?
so you gained 20 pounds.
Hmm. And it came off. I got married. I had two kids. The 20 pounds came back again to say hello. Continued to work out through all of it. But the real struggle hit me when I hit perimenopause. And my waist kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. For reference, I am 5'4". My waist was 34 inches. So, on somebody who's never been overweight or considered overweight, I've always been called athletic, which is also whatever that is in some circles. So 34 inches was quite substantial and uncomfortable. And I started to have the doctors saying to me, we need to talk to you about how much you eat and do you exercise? And of course, I always exercised, but it was I guess it was just the shift in hormones or what have you. And then when I started your program, fall of 2022, my waist was 33 inches. I reached my goal weight that following summer, and my waist was down to 27 inches. So substantial reduction. And during that period, I did go through menopause.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you were going through menopause, but you still managed to lose 20 pounds.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, I mean, when people say to me, menopause this, menopause that, and I was like, well, no, it doesn't have to be the end. And it doesn't have to be the reason why you gain weight.
Right.
It does
And
need to
then
be
you
the
get,
reason why you lift weights, but that's a different story.
well, you had that advantage, right? And that introduction to lifting weights where you had that muscle mass to begin with, as we know, is so important. So important.
Mhm.
Did you take breaks in your workouts or have you always kind of worked out?
I've always kind of worked out.
Okay.
I got more regimented or habitual about it about 2 years before COVID, so about 2018 or so. And it just became such a habit that I've never stopped because I feel really, really good. When you push a weight and then you increase that personal best the next time, you're like, oh, yeah, you feel like a powerhouse. It's such a great feeling. Yeah,
Yeah, I wanna get into how you keep that up, but first, so you lost your weight. You did the living method, you lost your weight, and then you gained it back.
yeah. Well, I was cocky and I didn't maintain. And I know I'm jumping ahead, but that final week, it dawned on me in the fall of this year, of 2024, that final week is your final exam. That's preparing you for success. I blew that off. I was not listening to what you were saying. Take it all, put it all together, and make it your own. And I never did that. So, why I gained the weight back? Uh, Life circumstance, obviously, in 2024, but also it was me, entirely my doing.
I'm not so interested. There's so many reasons why people gain weight back,
Yeah,
right? Not putting time into maintenance,
that was it.
solidifying, situational change is a big one, mindfulness, falling back into old habits, tragic
Mhm.
events, all those things. I'm more interested in why you came back.
Because this is my dream and it haunts me, and I've seen it, I've felt it, I've believed it, and I'm like, well, fuck me. I'm going to do this, and it's done. Like that's why, because it's my dream.
And what's that mean? What do you mean by it's your dream? What is
No
it?
one
What
can
is
take
it
it away.
that it's your dream?
No one can make it less important to me. No one can tell me, oh, but you're my after, and have me stop, because what I visualize about my physical fitness has to do with me and it
Mm,
matters to me.
right.
Mhm.
And so what's your why? What's your why?
I believe that because I've been blessed not to have excessive weight, I've been blessed not to have any sort of chronic illness. My why is really simple. Why not be the healthiest version of me? Why not? What's stopping me? Absolutely nothing. So,
I wanna
hmm?
Yeah, I wanna stop you right there because so many of us want that, but it's so hard to follow through to do the things you need to do to achieve that.
Yep, yep. I totally agree. Um, it haunts me though. Every day I'm like, well, you know what? I can do it. I am capable of doing it. Keep doing it. Even if some days, like I go to the gym, and some days I honestly am thinking about the whole time the peace and coffee that I'm going to have when I get back home. I'm not happy to be at the gym. I am not giving all my all at a workout, but I do it anyway. I run through the circuit. It might be the worst workout I've ever had, but it was also, I feel better because I did it and it was for me. And the days where I don't want to go, where I absolutely don't, I go. And it's a little win because I beat my negative self talk.
And you're aware of your negative self-talk,
Oh,
obviously, by this comment that you made. Discovering the Living Method is a whole body wellness program was a shock, and it was what I needed to dig deeper into my self-sabotage habits.
absolutely. Like it's such an insidious voice, I think, for me, and I assume for a lot of people, that you don't even realize that you're talking smack to yourself,
Yeah.
right? Like I heard a quote, and I don't know if it was Oprah Winfrey or not, but it was like, when you think other people are talking about you, they're usually not. Like you're walking down the street and I see somebody wearing something really cool. My first thought is, wow, I wonder where they got that. That's really cool. The look on my face might be, and the person might be
Yeah.
thinking, oh, she thought I looked like crap. This coat's wrong. So now I make the obvious of, oh my God, I love your coat. Where did you get it? That is so cool. That looks awesome. Because I think we forget that part in connecting with people is to spread sunshine.
When you say a whole body wellness program, what do you mean by that?
So I I believe that you get us really thinking about everything, not just what do you eat and when, but
Mm.
why do you go off the rails? What has you thinking you don't deserve this? It just goes so much deeper, and sometimes people are like, "Oh yeah, that's crazy. It's too much. It's not. It's this. It's that." But you have all of these supporting experts on here who are showing you this is totally normal. And to hear that what you're thinking, what you're saying to yourself is normal, and so many other people do it too, it's like a weight off your shoulder. So that's what I mean when I say it's whole body. It's not just, okay, I'm going to drink this much water, I'm going to eat this much, and I'm going to lose the weight. Well, yeah, sure, you can do it that way. But if you let yourself dive deep into all the other things, it becomes whole body wellness.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about, so you lost the 20 pounds, you gained it back,
Mhm.
you came back. Now I believe you're down, what, 8 pounds? Eight
Oh,
pounds?
9.5 now.
Nine, nine,
Broke through that plateau.
9.5. We need to really normalize this. But so many people feel whether it's like whether they lost their weight a while ago and they gained and they've been back for a while now, or they just thought they did well in the first few weeks of the program and feel like they've just dropped the ball. How do you get back at it? How do you get back at it and get over that? I gained it, now I'm back again.
It's the past. Let it go. Let it go. Start where you're at. Pick it back up. Get back at it. Don't give up. That's it's hard to do that. Like it's all simple words to say. It's very, very
Yeah.
hard to do that. And give yourself the grace and say, all right, I screwed up. I drop all. Next, next step forward. What's the next right step that makes you feel good about you? And I promise you, it's not that chocolate cake.
Did you change your why? Did your why change from when you first started and you did that program to this program?
Yeah. Yeah. I think my why was more based on physical appearance rather than digging deep and getting into the gritty stuff. Because, like a lot of stuff will come up and it just shocks you that all these things get tied into why you have, why you're here. And they're really deep and very, very personal. And some people are prepared to face it and some people are not. And there's nothing wrong with either. But if you're prepared to face it and you're prepared to look it in the eye and say, okay, now what's next? That's when you can, like, you can do anything. It's not just about weight loss. You can apply this to anything.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
When I look at your photos, you look fantastic. You look great.
Oh, thank you.
How do you handle people, and I'm sure you get this, who say, "You already look great. What are you doing? You don't need to diet." What do you say to those people? Or how do you deal with that even just on your own?
So I used to answer or justify it, but now I
Mm,
take a breath and I remember that what they're saying is actually how they feel about themselves.
mm,
So when they say to me, "Oh, you look great," they're comparing themselves to me. We all know comparison is the thief of joy. Stop comparing yourself to me. My journey is different than yours. Mine is not any easier or harder than yours. Mine is mine. Yours is yours. If I inspire you, well, now that makes me super happy. If people say, "You know what, I'm gonna start doing what you're doing because that looks awesome," and
yeah,
I'm on cloud nine when people say that because I think more women need to be lifting weight and feeling powerful AF.
yeah.
But
And I think this is a great example because, uh, not everyone has 200 pounds to lose,
right,
right? Everyone's on their own little journey, and it's not any easier for someone who, quote unquote, would only has 20 pounds to lose as opposed to a person who has 120 pounds. Now, they time wise, you may need to put more time into this process, but this is really where the it becomes individual. Did you ever think you would spend this much time trying to lose that weight?
no,
Because some people lose that like in one program, easy peasy done.
super jealous. Yes, no. Are they taking a different pill? Because if they are, I'm signing up. No, I'm super jealous. No, I did not think it would take this long. But at the same time, I've realized that being a perfectionist is pretty much masochistic. So I can't do it anymore. I need to honor how long it's going to take me to do this. And I am doing everything on my timeline. So progress, everyday progress.
We say all the time progress over perfection. And I love that Sandy's like, I need Susan to be my personal coach. I do want to talk to that perfectionist piece because when it comes to dieting, people feel the need to be perfect. And I don't understand where that comes from, to the point where if like people will email me and I missed my fruit snack this week. Should I just wait, start over again? I've ruined everything. And I'm like, what is happening? Like that, I would imagine that would be paralyzing. And there's a lot of people. I have a daughter who's like that. She will not hand in her work even though it is like 98% done because it is not perfect. So then she doesn't hand it in. Then she loses marks. And the teacher's like, this is brilliant. If you would have just handed this in, you would have gotten perfect. And so it can be very paralyzing for people. And so how do you navigate a weight loss program like that?
Well, I think that's where the magic is when you go off the rails and when you screw up or when as Confucius says, fall down 7 times, stand up 8. When you get back up, when you do the next right thing to keep you on your journey, just keep moving forward. Um, I am purposely doing things off the rail and making myself get back on.
Huh.
Again, it's the challenge of, okay, so this weekend, couple nights I had dessert and, I normally don't. And I didn't just have it once. I had a couple here and there. They tasted delicious. I enjoyed it. And then Monday morning, the scale was up. Okie dokie. Got back on it and just kept going forward.
Like, forward-thinking way to approach it because it's like, the tweaks that we have each week are designed to bring up the feels. It's designed to put your shit right in your face, so you're
Yep.
forced to deal with it because you gotta work through some stuff to get there. I love that. Is that resiliency or is that, what is it when you are, like, exposure therapy?
I
What are you
think it's
thinking?
exposure. Just like how I
Mm,
don't like to post the pictures, I do it to expose me
yeah.
to it, to bring up whatever it is that is my reason for not liking doing it. So, because it's not so uncomfortable that I am terrified, it's just more of a cringy, all right, go.
I love this conversation. It's so fascinating to me. Talked about the uncomfortable feeling. How do you sit in that uncomfortable feeling?
Yeah, so that's the one that I've always avoided my entire life. I've always done things
Mm.
to avoid feeling uncomfortable. And um, the more I do the things that make me feel uncomfortable, the more I level up. And so it's like, okay, so that made me feel like a total tool. All right, well,
Yeah.
let's just keep going. And the perfectionist thing, I can totally speak to that. I was exactly that person. If it wasn't perfect, I didn't hand it in. And now I'm like, all right, 90%, good, go, done. And when people say, okay, well, we missed this, that, the other because of the nature of what I do for work, say, all right, well, where else have we missed it? Let's have a discussion. I never apologize. I don't say, oh, crud, or be embarrassed about it because I look at it as discussion points now, not I have to be perfect. Let's discuss. And
Well,
it's uncomfortable and it's also great.
well, Dr. Paul was talking about that this morning. It's probably the things that you're avoiding are the things that you need to work on.
Or they're going to come back and smack you in the face anyway. So,
Right? And I
yep,
hate that. And I'm
yes.
just like, "Ugh, if I just would have dealt with that in the moment, if I just would have done what I needed to do, say what I needed to say, it just that
But we didn't
yeah.
have the capacity at the time, right? So sometimes, when I do that to myself, I'm like, all right, well, hang on a second here. I didn't have the capacity to answer that the way I probably should have. So I'm going to give myself a break and remember the next time that I need to speak up, that I need to say
Do you journal?
all the time,
Okay.
all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you're like the perfect going through the Livy method perfectly. Like,
Or repeating it perfectly.
same,
Yeah,
different.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, you journal. What do you journal?
So whatever thought pops in my mind that day. So if I'm trash talking to myself, I it was funny because the first time I heard Dr. Beverly, I'm like, yeah, exactly that. So if I'm saying something nasty to myself, I write it out. And then I'm like, okay, so how much of this is actually true and who told me this was true? Do I believe it? And 9 times out of 10, I don't believe it. And if I do believe it, then I keep going and ask myself why I believe that thing.
You're very intentional and matter of fact.
Yeah. Oh, I'm very direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But direct with yourself. That's what I
Yeah.
love. I mean, one thing to be direct with other people, but to be
Mhm.
direct with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that a personality thing or did you learn that?
I think it's a bit of both. Um, I was picked on as a kid. Short form of my name rhymes with Sue Poo, smells like poo. That was a nickname, and I was chased home, people yelling that at me. And I remember one day, I think I was like in grade 8, where I finally said, "Do you not have anything else to say?" And it stopped the bullies. So now I say to myself when I'm trash talking, "Do you not have anything else to say? I feel like this is an old story." So yeah, I don't know how to better explain it, right? Like,
Well, I love the matter of factness and the confidence in your voice because I think some of us sometimes feel like we're flailing. and that our internal voice is getting the best of us, and that we have no control. And the reality is you have quite a bit of control, although I'm not a fan of that word, in just being in tune and understanding what you need. It's interesting because what is your voice? Like, how are you speaking to yourself? And I don't just mean the words, I mean the tone. I mean that you seem like you respond to very direct and matter of fact, and it seems exactly how you speak to yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas there's something to be said about that, where someone else might be, well, I don't know. I'm wondering, like, maybe I just like how you are, like, not so self assured. There's something to be said about what kind of voice is showing up.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so I mean, the words that are said, the things that are said, they're just horrid. And sometimes I look and go, wait a minute here. I remember, I think I was like in grade 4, and I remember looking in a mirror because people would pick on me. It was fun. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, you're not mean. You're not ugly. You have some friends. Why are people so mean to you? I don't know. And I walked away. I was like, okay, so they're mean to me.
It's an interesting thing because my relationship with friends hasn't been all that great. And I don't understand. I like to have fun. I'm a good person. I think I'm direct. I'm
Oh,
very direct. A lot of times, like my best friend, I can say anything to her. She can say anything to me. And we just have this way of communicating where a lot of times I think people are afraid. Well, I was afraid to talk to you. I'm like, you've never talked to me before. Why? My relationship with friends growing up wasn't really all that great, and I learned to kind of just not trust that.
mhm.
And it's really made me who I am to this day. But it is kind of growing up with a sense of you're not quite right, or you don't really belong, or there's something wrong with you, or it does kind of mold and shape who you are as you get older. And then you add like dieting to it and the diet industry and what it's done to a lot of people, that can really mess you up.
It can. It can.
Yeah.
People often use the word that I'm intimidating, and I'm like, well, how am
Yeah.
I intimidating? It's just me. I don't know any other way to be. I used to
Yeah.
shrink and try and be quieter and nicer, and my best friends will tell you it's very, very hard for me. But yeah, um, it's exhausting to try and figure out why people don't resonate with me. So you either like me or you don't. I am probably pretty polarizing, but also the people who do like me are like, I want you to be in my room every day, wake me up and take me to the gym. And I was like, no, you don't want me there because I will be pouring the cold bucket on you and say, get your ass up, let's go.
That's why people in the notes want you to be their personal coach. Exactly that. But we want to find that in ourselves. This
Yes.
is like, do you know what I mean? This is what I'm seeing. Like, I want this like grit, tenacity, this like confidence. This is what I'm looking for. How do people find that in themselves?
What's your dream?
What's your
It's never
dream?
going away. What you want is yours. It's meant for you. No one can take it, and only you can get it. So you got to do the work. If you want to be that person and have that thing, what's your dream? And everybody's is different, and everybody wants something different. And something fires you up every morning, let it. When it's snowing out and it's cold AF and you don't want to get out of bed. Because that voice in your head saying, oh, just stay for another 5 minutes is your past. It's not today. It's not who you are, it's who you were. Just do it. I
Love
mean,
that.
fuck, it's a great Nike ad.
We're gonna take it.
Yeah.
We're gonna, we're gonna take it. And we're gonna make it our own. I can't believe we're already out of time. Like, where'd the time go? I want to ask you, what's the hardest thing about the program for you?
Facing your feelings
Mm,
because they do come up and they're going to keep coming up until you face them. And the most effective way I've found facing them is stop and listen. They're not as scary as you're thinking they are. Those things that are coming up are not as terrifying. And I honestly believe they just want to be heard. So you can let them go.
I'm writing that down. They just
Want to be
want
heard.
to be heard,
So you can let them go.
so you can let them go. Oh my goodness.
I'm here for you.
Right back at you. Right back at you. Oh my goodness. This is why I love these conversations because, like, I mean, I don't know who I'm going to talk to. I don't really know what the conversation is going to be, where it's going to go, any of those things. We get a great variety. Well, we get different people, and everyone's got their own individual and profound story to tell. I don't want to go, but I got to go. My time's up. Mike, can you hear my team being like, wrap it up? Let's go. Thank you so much. Those voices are coming up because they just want to be heard, so you can let them go. I am here for you. Please reach out if you need. I wish you good luck on the program, but I know you're going to crush it because your mindset
Absolutely.
is just, I love your mindset. And I just wish for half of that confidence, self assuredness that, I just, I
Everybody
continue
has
to be,
it. Everybody has it.
yeah,
You've just forgotten you do.
everyone has it. You just forgotten you do. Well, I continue to be inspired by you. Thank you.
Absolutely my pleasure.
Right. Sometimes you need to see or hear something to know what's possible. And so many people, they're not so sure. Maybe you don't feel worthy. Maybe you've got self doubt. You have it in you. And the things that are popping up, your thoughts and your feels, I say all the time, give you great insight into the things that you need to do and work through. And I just love the how Susan embraces it. She's like, bring it on, like, bring it on, bring it on. I'm here for it. And with the understanding that it's going to get her to her dream. It's going to get her to where she wants to go. Um, Gosh, I'm so grateful for all of our guests. Thanks to Susan who joined us today, and so grateful to all of our guests who take the time. It's not an easy thing, and my mind was blown that she doesn't really like posting those photos. I want you to keep that in mind when you see people and what they're posting on their social media account. A lot of times, it's not really what's out there for other people. A lot of times, it's there for themselves. Really fascinating, really interesting. Just a great way to level up